time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys, welcome back, and look who I have here with me today, the ever so fabulous avatar of Monica from All About the Tea. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Adam. Good morning. Hey, guys.
Good morning. And then, of course, also Jason.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Monica. How are you?
Doing well. How you doing?
It's nice to officially meet you.
Yes, I know. We talk in DMs sometimes. I
Yeah.
love the IG stories, but it's nice to finally, a face-to-face formal meeting. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, technically, Monica, it's a face to avatar. But,
hey, this is the Monica I know, though, you know?
yeah,
Exactly.
technically.
Had I shown up in any other fashion or form, it would have been confusing.
Confused. Yeah.
Listen, just a fun fact, when Monica announced her subscribers for her channel, which was really exciting because nobody knew she had her subscriber count as private. When she put that out there and she said, I have some big thing that I'm going to reveal, I was like, Monica, what are you showing? And she said, my face. And I was like, what? So I scrolled through the whole video, and then finally you were like, gotcha, my subscriber. I was excited, though. I was like, the woman behind the avatar.
Yeah, the build up to that will be truly incredible, because everyone's always so intrigued or interested in what does Monica look like. Recently, I've been, they've labeled me various things. They said Monica's Mexican. They said Monica's a white woman. Monica's a gay white boy. All kinds of stuff.
You don't sound like a gay white boy.
Well, you never know, And when I finally show up, it'll be the biggest shock to everyone.
Can we, before we get started on obviously we're here to talk about Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and Oprah, this interview. But before we get started, can we set a subscriber count to have that reveal? Would it be 1,000,000, 750,000, 500,000?
I'd say 500,000. Yeah.
500,000.
Why not? Go big. Go big.
Hey, everyone, go subscribe right now if you haven't already.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, of course. We want to see Monica.
Yes, the buildup will be really incredible. It's funny. All the conspiracy theories and all the stuff going around. I'm also part of the Illuminati too. I run the Illuminati.
Of course.
I mean,
really funny.
I only get called a gay man, but it's not anything offensive because I am, in fact, a gay man. So I'll take it.
Yeah, no, of course not. Yeah. So when they called me a gay man, I was like, okay, I'll take it. That's fine.
Yeah. Like, all right. All right, guys. Well, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, show some love. And we are here to talk about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Monica, I know that you did you did a whole live on this already. So I appreciate you taking the time to come back and talk with Jason and I about it. But this was an interesting interview. I think it was so highly anticipated. And Jason and I have talked about this for years, only because he's been to the UK numerous times. I've never been. He has such a love for like the royal family and Princess Diana and everything that plays into the history of all of that, I guess. If that's
I mean, I'm not a royalist. So if like the royals were gone tomorrow, it wouldn't end my day. But I guess I have a fascination with it.
Yeah, you're intrigued.
Yeah.
So when I talk to you, though, you kind of explained to me who Queen Mother is and why Meghan Markle might get so much flack coming into the royal family, or what happened with Princess Diana. And this is kind of my go-to. So it was exciting the fact that Meghan Markle actually had the opportunity to sit down with Oprah Winfrey and share things that, if anybody knows anything about the royal family, things that you technically should not share unless you feel extremely safe. Is that fair?
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah, because this was an out there interview. I mean, Princess Diana, and Jason, you know more about this than I do. Princess Diana did her interview where she kind of did a tell-all. And I said to Jason, and guys, if you don't think that Princess Diana was taken out by the royal family, that is, everyone has their kind of conspiracy theory as to what happened. Was it an accident? Was it not? A lot of people feel like Princess Diana might have been actually taken out by the family. And Monica, I can't wait to jump in and see what your opinion is about this. But I asked Jason if she was in fact taken out by someone who was associated with the royal family, would it have been because of that interview where she kind of talked about what happens behind the scenes? And Jason said, no, I don't think it would be because of the interview. I think it would be because she was starting to fall in love with a guy who was Muslim. But I want to know what you think, Monica.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Diana was, in their eyes anyway, somewhat of a loose cannon. You know, she had no filter, and that's dangerous to the monarchy. You know, there's a lot of stuff she knows, a lot of things that she's seen, secrets and so forth. And then on top of it, too, she's also dating this man of color, you know, Dodi Fayed. So I think it was a combination of both. They couldn't control her. And when they can't control you, you are dangerous to them.
Right. And do you think that plays into a part of the reason why the royal family looks for the members who are coming up and starting to get married and start families, for them to kind of stay within that realm of other royal families, because they know what the outline of that looks like, as opposed to an American woman like Meghan Markle, who comes in and she is taught, especially I feel like growing up in America, if we have feelings, we talk about them. We try to put them out there. There's conflict, we want resolution, but it's sort of, especially at this time, this day and age, I feel like it's sort of an open dialogue. And Meghan carried that into this interview with Oprah, as opposed to most people who marry into the royal family, like Kate Middleton, who was from the UK. She knows you don't talk about it. You don't go against the family. You don't say anything. You just kind of put your head down and go with it.
You don't leave the family. I mean, they literally escaped, right? You don't leave the family. You get married. You stay in it. And then on top of it, if you are going to leave, you need to go to some little island in Fiji, someplace where no one's going to, find you or hear from you. You don't go live in Monticello, California, in a mansion someplace and do Oprah interviews. So she definitely broke code all the way around. And I'm going to be honest with you. I felt uncomfortable watching it. I feel their lives are in danger. I really do.
Yeah. No, I mean, do you have anything?
I know. I said that as well. I have various opinions, and I don't think I have someone said this in the chat right before we started, and I've always really not known too much about Meghan, and what I've heard, I'm like, oh, whatever, But if this interview and this situation opens up a conversation about racism in the royal family, then yes, it needs to happen. Now, I do have a theory, and before we start, really quick, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I do have a theory. So Harry did say someone in the royal family did say this about the skin tone
of baby Archie.
And he was not willing to give up that source at all. He also doesn't talk to his dad and has a riff with his brother. And my thinking is, did Prince Charles say that?
I think it was probably Prince Charles. It was his brother, could have been cousins. But the sentiment was of queen, from the queen. She's the head. She controls it all. She's in charge of the titles and all that other stuff. So I believe it came from the head. It trickled down, but the conversation, the actual communication may have came from his father. It was obviously someone that he respected.
Right.
So maybe the father or the brother or another prince in the family or another duke, but definitely a family member. We know that much. He came out recently and said it was not his grandmother. If you notice in that interview, him and his wife really protected the queen, because that's in their national anthem. They say, God save the queen. It's blasphemy to talk against the queen. So even though she had all the power to stop everything that was happening to Meghan, how the British media was stifling her and squeezed her into a corner, she didn't. She let it all play out. They protect Andrew, and we all know what Prince Andrew has done. She controls it all. So if she didn't want this issue of racism and the skin tone of Archie to be a thing, she could have stopped it.
Well, I was actually going to ask you about that, kind of the contradiction of the fact that they do sit there and they say that their relationship with the queen remains strong and that they have the full support of the queen from the beginning of their courtship all the way until the move to North America, right? So they say that they still have the support of the queen. But isn't that kind of a contradiction, especially because they also spoke about how they had their security taken away from them. They had their son who wasn't given security. They had their son who wasn't allowed a title. I mean, isn't that sort of a contradiction, especially if you're speaking on the fact that you said the queen is the one at the end of the day who makes the final decision, right?
Yeah. Prince
Now
Charles-
there are certain rules though that she can't change. She's the enforcer. She's just the head of what's been laid out by the institution or firm or whatever they're calling it, because that will never change. The institution or the firm, as they're called it, that surrounds whoever is the crown. So I don't even know if maybe the queen is aware of everything. Do you think she is?
Absolutely. She's still sharp as a whip. And, you know, at the end of the day, Prince Charles doesn't get to confer the princehood title to children of princesses. It's done by the queen and the monarchy machine. So she's in charge of it. Okay. And to take away the security of your unborn great grandson just speaks volumes, and of your grandson. While they were in Canada, he was notified that his security was being taken away. So in other words, they really just at that point was setting him up for danger to be killed, because you can't take away security of the prince. Okay, he's a prince of England. It made no sense.
Okay, question for you though, because I was reading a lot of the comments from the fans and like super fans of the monarchy, just kind of playing devil's advocate. They decided to step back from their senior royal duties, right? Their senior royal duties obviously come with a paycheck. It comes with a different level of security. It has its perks, right? But they decided to step away from those titles. Now, with them backing out of it, a lot of people are saying they should have known that with walking away from those duties, those senior role positions and the duties that come with that you would lose security. But when we watched them on the Oprah interview, they seemed like completely shocked that they would lose security, because from what Meghan said, it's almost like she feels like it's Harry's birthright.
I think so too. I mean, at the end of the day, if they want to walk away from the monarchy, that's fine. But to remove the security detail, that's like removing the CIA from Trump, even though he's no longer president. I mean, he would be killed within 24 hours, within an hour. You know what I mean? You just can't do that. It's unheard of. And it was really shocking to hear that part of it, because to me, it was the same thing repeating in my mind what happened to his mother. They're setting him up to be killed.
Yeah. I feel that way too, but you got to remember that, you know, the security of the monarch is paid for by taxpayers. And a lot of people who live in the UK don't want to pay for their cottage renovations that they're not going to use, or their security if they leave their roles as senior family members. But I mean, that's the argument that I was seeing.
Right. And I saw that too, but I also saw where they said they wanted to step away from being senior roles, but they also didn't want to step away from their roles 100%. They still wanted to contribute, but contribute from afar. That way they can have some sort of normalcy within the relationship. And also he said that he didn't want history to repeat itself the way that they started to treat Meghan. He didn't want that to play out the same way it played out with his mom.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, as much as Meghan is such a worldly person, and she has traveled, and she's a well-known, or an actress where she prepared for roles, and she's it just seems she's very well cultured, and I think she thought she could step into this role, and there's no way to expect what is going to be given to you when you step into that role. My thing is the monarch missed a huge opportunity here. They missed a huge opportunity to kind of change the ways of that family.
Well, but also Prince Harry said in the interview, he said, with the Commonwealth being made up of how many countries?
I believe it's 56, but I could be wrong.
Right. He said that he felt like his wife, Meghan, would be an asset to the royal family to go out and advocate for the Commonwealth. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that was even bold for him to say that, because he's pretty much saying, listen, guys, I married a Black woman who I'm very in love with. And I think that she appeals to the Commonwealth because a lot of the Commonwealth are people of color. Right. So wasn't that were you surprised or shocked by that statement, or no?
I wasn't surprised or shocked. I think everything was copacetic up until the point where she got pregnant. Then everything became very real to the queen and the monarchy, that the potential of having a Black royal I mean, because, Meghan is Black, but it's by marriage, and she's very fair skinned. So she kind of simulates a little bit, more into that culture, but she's still Black at the end of the day. But the unknown about Archie's skin tone, and, I know a lot of people don't really understand science, but yes, a white man and a biracial woman can have a dark skinned baby. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that threat, that would have been a huge threat to the monarchy. And I don't even know if that's written into the rules someplace, that it's a writ that anyone that is a part of the royal family is 100% white. Who knows? Could be.
No, and I want to touch on this in a second, but first, real quick, Marcella, thank you so much. Hey, Adam. Hey, my sis, Monica. Thank you, Marcella. And tell RJ we said hello. Marcella also said, hey, Jason, thank you for the super chat. Oh, wow, Marcella. The royals don't want things to change. Meghan and Harry represent the present. Yes, I feel they want to kill Meghan to get Harry back. That's deep. And then there's one more really quick. From Marcella, I believe they didn't step back. Harry was given an ultimatum. Actually, before I move forward, what do you think about that statement, Monica? I believe they didn't step back. Harry was given an ultimatum.
No, I think they stepped back on their own. I think the ultimatum may have came in when they spent so much time in North America. And it's like, okay, you're a prince, you have duties here. You can't spend this much time in Canada. They kept extending that trip and extending it and extending it. And that's probably when the ultimatum probably came in, like, do or die. Listen, you have duties here. Are you coming back home? Because you can't stay there forever. And there's no way you can live there part-time and, be a part-time prince. That's just not how that system works.
Do you know, they also said, well, at least Meghan said in this interview, she pointed out the fact that becoming a prince for Archie was his birthright. And I want to say one thing really quick, because you said that it's not his birthright.
To my understanding, and this is just my understanding and what I've heard from friends and stuff who are British, is that he wouldn't be a prince because his grandparent is not the monarch. He would become a prince when Charles becomes king. And William's kids are prince and princess because he is the heir to the throne. That's just how I was kind of explained to it. I don't know how right that is, but I was really curious about the title thing. Now, because going back to Prince Charles' sister, Princess Anne, has 2 kids, Zara and Peter. And Princess Anne asked them not to receive titles or to be part of the royal duties, or, be part of the whole thing. And the queen can, I guess, decide to do that. But I don't know if she can, just how the rules are, I guess, decide to give a prince title or not. I don't know. But I was just curious because I had been explained that. And I was like, oh, that makes it kind of confusing then.
Carol Haran said, you are right on the title thing. Okay, so you might be onto something. But I want to ask Monica this. Do you feel in your heart of hearts, like within deep in your bones, knowing what you know about the royal family and what we got from this interview, which obviously media plays a role in everything. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like Prince Archie, the only reason that he may not have been offered a title would have been because the fact that Meghan Markle was, she's a Black woman?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because from my understanding, the children and grandchildren of the sovereign, nation or whatever have automatic rights to the monarchy, to the Royal Highness Prince and the princesses. From my understanding, from what I've read, and but I could be wrong. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's his birthright.
Okay. Well, and that's what she said too. She kind of said, just like it's Harry's birthright, and she feels like it's kind of ridiculous that Harry lost the security. She feels like it's also her child's birthright because, again, she married a prince. She had a baby with him, and there are a lot of people out in the world. I mean, if anybody's watched The Crown, we know there are people sneaking into the Queen's window. There are people are crazy. It doesn't matter. Like, you're a prince's son. I mean, people try to sneak into Lindsay Lohan's apartment. You know what I mean? Like, who is she? But it's like, this does exist. There are crazy people out there who, if they feel like they can get to you, they'll get to you. And when you eliminate the idea of security, yeah, that's kind of okay, free for all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was just curious too, because like, you know, I always play devil's advocate. This is some things that I'm told I don't always believe or think. But when it was just, I just, for me, it's hard to understand, because you can never with a person really understand what their experience is or what they've been through. And I could only imagine the experience that Harry and Meghan went through. I mean, Harry has had a rough past, from, you know, dressing up like a Nazi back in the day, playing strip poker in Vegas, and kind of, you know, they kind of did like a whole PR repair that sent him to Afghanistan, join the Air Force, and kind of bring him back to life a little bit. But I cannot take that away from Meghan and Harry and everything they've been through. I believe that they are smarter, though, to see the opportunities they could have away from the crown. And I don't know if that played into it or not. I mean, they signed, I don't know how many millions of dollars of deals with Netflix, Disney, Apple, Spotify.
I just want to touch on
it's
that
almost
really
like
quick.
Good play.
They,
you know?
I mean, they did get $100 million Spotify deal. They will be offered a deal from Netflix. A lot of people are coming forward, especially, and I know, Monica, you love Kelly Dodd. I know you do.
She's my favorite.
And she's like, are we pretending like Oprah Winfrey sold this interview for $7 million and that Harry and Meghan are sitting in an interview saying that they wouldn't have been able to make this move work had their mom not left behind the inheritance that she did, and yet they're not getting paid for this interview? Are we supposed to believe this? That's what Kelly Dodd said. I want to know your opinion real quick. Do you feel like, and also Kelly Dodd pointed out, even if they didn't get the money, was the money gifted to one of the charities that's let's
not care really what Kelly Dodd says.
I'm not saying what she, no, I don't care. I don't care what she said.
Bethany Frankel said.
Or what Bethany Frankel, you know, actually she came out and said something ridiculous too. Did you read that, Monica?
I did. And it was absolutely ridiculous. Neither Kelly Dodd or Bethany, right, should be using Meghan to insert themselves in this for free press. They don't care about Meghan or Harry, and we're all entitled to our opinions, but I find them both to be problematic, both of those two ladies, for various reasons. And Adam, you probably know about how I feel about Kelly Dodd.
No, of course.
I feel the same.
I think everyone here knows, Monica. I think everyone feels some type of way about Kelly Dodd because she is so, I mean, she has the ability to be vulgar, incorrect, disgusting with her words. Yes, we know.
No, I mean, now taking that kind of completely what I just said, though, like Harry and Meghan, for what they do as royal, in the senior royal family, I wouldn't blame them for wanting to leave the royal family to create these other opportunities, because Harry is nowhere in line to become king at all. There are so many people in front of him. I don't know what you do if Meghan is not happy, if Harry isn't happy. That's what I would do. I'm like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm going to go sign some deals. I'm going to make my own, build my own foundation. But I don't know if I would expect to keep security, especially when I'm signing deals that could pay for my own and maybe even better security. I don't know if I would want royal security after I leave.
You're probably better off hiring your own private security, because they work for the Queen at the end of the day. And with his dissension, God knows, they might put pieces of glass in their food. Who knows? I don't trust them. I don't trust it. So you're right, Jason. He's better off getting their own security. Would Harry? I think the question is, would Harry have left if he didn't marry Meghan? Because he said that. He said he would have been there. He didn't have a problem with the situation, the culture, the work he was doing. It was Meghan who had the issues. And of course, that's his wife, right? But he said, had he not, if he wasn't married to her, he would still be there.
But I also think that's a matter of an outside influence coming in and letting someone know. It's almost like if you grow up in this lifestyle and you think it's okay, but you're doing bad all day, or you're getting scrutinized, and somebody comes into your life who plays an important role, and they're like, you don't have to deal with this. This isn't okay. This isn't normal. Like, you can have a better quality life. You don't have to, just because you were born into it doesn't mean that you're like handcuffed to it. And I feel like that's what Meghan Markle was to Prince Harry.
And Prince Harry is very easily influenced, as we have seen when in the past when he's been troubled, when he's gone through a lot of drinking or put on a Nazi uniform, or like we said, partying in the Caribbean, like everything like that. Like he is very influenced, but also I look at both people's past a little bit too, and that Meghan doesn't have a clean record with relationships and family and stuff like that. And I don't know if maybe that kind of triggers something for her as well. If she's not receiving the support that maybe she didn't get from her dad or her friends or, you know, people who she doesn't keep in touch with anymore, maybe he is the only one to give her that support. And you know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
You know,
I totally agree with you. No, you're right. Absolutely. Well, was it really a bad situation for Harry? Because I know for Meghan it was a nightmare, but was it? I mean, the system has been in place for years, right? Centuries. It's decade old. Harry didn't seem to have a problem with it. He wasn't stifled. He was traveling and doing all kinds of stuff. And that's why marrying commoners could be an issue, because they don't understand. They really don't understand the culture. And I was told there is a training program for incoming royalty, but Meghan wasn't offered that. I don't know if that's true. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Well, she said that too on the interview, but then somebody, I mean, I've read a lot of comments in different blogs saying that those are offered to people in the royal family who play senior roles. And since they weren't playing senior roles, but weren't they at the beginning?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was the intention.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think Meghan, you know, becoming a part of the monarchy, I think I again, like, I don't know if it was having a child and worrying about the color of his skin or what, but they could have really used that opportunity with Meghan to kind of change the face of the monarchy a little bit.
Well, and then also I wanted to ask you this, Monica, and before I do, I just want to, these are like going off the hook over here. So I just want to grab them really quick. Marcella, Oprah reaches the world. The message was sent to the people who need to hear it. Thank you, Marcella. We appreciate you. Dear Dana, ultimately, I think Harry wanted to leave, but did not feel he could do it on his own. He needed support. Thank you, Dana. We appreciate you. And then lastly, real quick, Marcella, Sarah Arrington, Monica is the best. If you think you can spot a liar, you are lying now. Monica does research and speaks the truth. I don't know what they're talking. I guess
there's some people in your comments shading me, including your mods. It's hilarious.
Hey, my mods are shading you?
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's no big deal. I don't care about comments and stuff. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. And you know, difference of opinions make the world go round.
Guys, we love you. Mods wise though, if you're shading Monica, we can't keep you as mods. Guys, we come here to have an open dialogue and a conversation where it's not meant to be shady.
I mean, listen, I know these are not just my opinions. I just like playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, me too.
Because
that's
I like
what we come here for, not to be shady.
Yeah, no, because
totally.
I think your point of view, you know, as being a Black woman, I mean, so we think, right? Whoever,
or like you said, you did say you could potentially be a gay white male.
I think it's so important to see. Yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you.
No, I totally get it, Jason. You're so respectful, and difference of opinion make the world go round, and you do it in such a respectful way. I mean, we're not even disagreeing; we're just sharing our perspective.
Yeah, no, I'm just sharing. Yeah, absolutely. That I had, because you know, I mean, like, to watch. I don't know, to bring when Harry and Meghan, like, for me, and this is completely nothing to do with the racism side of what has been talked about with the royal family, but when Harry and Meghan want privacy and to get away from all of that, but then they want to do an interview and sign all these deals, and like, I kind of look at it from just like a different standpoint. I'm like, in your $14 million house, you wanted to simplify your life. It kind of makes me, like, my wheels turn a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted
some of it came off a little, like, almost a little entitled in the interview. And I have to say, Oprah she is phenomenal.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, of course she is, but I love how she clarified everything. She double checked. So what you meant was, and then when she said silent or silenced,
yeah,
you know, she always clarified the questions, and she made me understand what they were actually talking about sometimes.
That's what I wanted to bring up real quick, was the silent or silenced comment. Monica, I had different callers who came in and they wanted to talk to me about the interview before I was actually doing this video. And The callers said, and I want to hear your opinion about this, but they said Meghan was treated far worse than Princess Diana. Now, I don't know if anybody watched the documentary with Princess Diana, but she was treated really bad. Like, I mean, the press ate her alive. They wouldn't give her any space. She was kind of locked away in this tower. She married someone who really wasn't even in love with her. He was in love with someone else. She lived a very lonely life, right? Whereas Meghan had her husband there for her full support. And Oprah asked her, were you silent or silenced? And she kind of alluded to the fact that she was silenced. But when people say, I think she was silenced because she's a Black woman, I wanted to ask your opinion on that, because they silenced Diana too. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily the fact that she is a Black woman as much as it is the fact that it's the royal family, it's an institution, there's a monarchy there to protect, and there are people put in place to protect that monarchy, right?
Absolutely. I just don't think they liked her, to be honest with you. I really don't. They didn't like Diana, and they did the same thing, and they allowed things in the tabloid to be said and lies, and they didn't correct the lies, because Meghan said that in the interview. They did nothing to stop the lies. They didn't protect me. I just don't think they liked her. It was a culture clash. Here you are, this commoner, this American, you have a totally different mindset coming in, and you don't understand British culture. And I think that caused a lot of issues in terms of communication with the staff and the assistants. And then they didn't want her to speak to the press, and they didn't want her to clarify things. You don't always, they wanted her to stay silent. So yes, they did silence her to an extent, but I don't think it was because of skin color per se, necessarily. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and I thought the same thing. Honestly, I feel like it's any outsider coming into the royal family, again, the institution, speaking against it. I don't think it matters if you're white, black, blue, yellow, purple, green. I think it's all about the institution and protecting it. So they don't care if you're male, female, or who you are. If you're saying something that isn't good press for them, I feel like they're going to be on your ass, just to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, and the other day too, you look up, we were just for fun looking up like net worth because I was just curious, I'm like, what is Oprah worth now? I was looking at her net worth, and I was thinking, I'm like, I think her and the Queen are pretty like, comparable as far as money. And we were looking it up, and the Queen was worth 500 million, but the monarchy, the institution that's behind it, is what, 80 billion?
Something like that.
Something crazy money. They have, I mean, you can see how easy it would be to maybe put a stop to some of the press stuff. The royal family has a great working relationship with the press and the tabloids and everything. I don't know why that would be so hard to do.
I want to pull these up really quick. Catherine said, Monica, we love you.
Oh, thank you.
I
love you too.
Gina B said, we love and respect you here, Monica. So sorry if anyone was disrespectful. Yes, and so are Jason and I, because that is obviously not what we came here to do. Again.
Well, that's why I wanted to come on with you, because I wanted to know how you feel. After seeing the interview and seeing what's going on, I think it's important. Like, there are things I can't understand, because it's not, it's not.
We don't understand it. It's not our culture.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't understand it. And the people in England, like in their national anthem, it says, God save the Queen. So to them, she is like, the second thing coming to Jesus to them. We don't understand it. We don't have that kind of system in place here. We don't have that. So we don't understand it. And I think it was very, very rough for Meghan to, or even maybe a slightly, I wouldn't use the word delusional. Let me look for the right word. Naive, maybe? Thinking she can go into this, with her eyes shut, and it was going to be a fairy tale, marrying a princess, marrying a prince, and, everything would just fall into place. But it's a lot more to that whole structure of government than that. It's beyond the fairy tale. It really is. And she should have really have gone through some sort of formal training. How to curtsy. You don't know how to curtsy. What knife to use when you sit down to dinner. Which glass to use. Cross your legs. You put the napkin on your lap. I mean, there's so much to it. So many nuances that she just didn't know about. So she stood out like a sore thumb, got on everybody's nerves. And then on top of it, she is biracial. That didn't, it didn't help matters in that situation, if you know what I mean.
So at the end of the day, do you find this to be a race thing, or do you find it to be a foreigner entering into the monarchy thing?
Both.
I believe it's both.
It's both
as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of both. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I didn't realize that. Again, I feel like I learned a lot about the monarchy from you. I ask you a lot of questions, and I'm one of those people who like walk through the world and I have a little bit of blinders on sometimes, where I hope that people are always like amazing and they have the best intentions, right? But then when things are broken down for me, I'm like, oh wow, yeah. Obviously, when you I want to say this really quick, and I just want to say it so carefully. Prince Harry, I wanted to hear a little bit more from him on the matters of what was going on behind doors within the royal family, only because he was born into it. And the fact that Meghan pointed out that there was a conversation about baby Archie's skin color, and she said, ask Harry, or Harry was there too. And then Oprah readdressed the question to Harry. He wouldn't name who it was, but he did answer the question. He would be someone who, he has nothing to gain from this. This is kind of, for him, you can tell this is like heart-wrenching, right? Gut-wrenching. He's almost sort of going against the family. And the fact that he even spoke up and said that that was a conversation, it opens anybody's eyes who's looking at this family. Like my uncle, for example. My uncle looks at the royal family like, oh my gosh, they would never do anything wrong. And then you have Prince Harry here saying, yes, this was a wrong conversation. It was inappropriate, but it was had. And for someone like me as a viewer watching it, I'm like, oh, wait. So then maybe it wasn't just the fact that Meghan Markle was a foreigner. Maybe it was the fact that she is biracial. And that was a topic of conversation. I just wasn't expecting it until he spoke on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked that Harry did that much talking, to be quite honest with you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more elaboration, but like, how can you elaborate any more than that, in his position?
He said a mouthful without actually naming names. And of course they can't throw the grandmother under the bus, because that's like an immediate target on his back,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just pray for that family, and I hope that they stay safe and that they enjoy their lives. And also too, think about it. He lost an entire family. He pretty much, the relationship with the grandmother is never going to be the same. He doesn't speak to his father. He doesn't have his brother. All he has is Meghan and the kids. So he lost a lot.
Archie, and now soon to be the baby girl, Diana.
I don't know if they're going to name her Diana.
Oh. Were you playing with me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I believed it.
Adam.
He told me that they were naming her Princess Diana, and I believed it. Why would you even say that?
Not name her Princess Diana, because then she'll have a title.
Right. Okay, Diana. Okay, just moving forward though, obviously with Prince Harry and Meghan stepping away from their royal duties, like you said, the relationship is not going to be the same. I know that Monica's time is very precious. Your time's very precious, so I appreciate both of you guys being here with me. I want to ask you maybe 2 more questions, Monica, before we let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One being, do you feel like now that they've come forward and addressed that these conversations have happened within the royal family, that they are safe? Or do you feel like they should be extremely concerned for their safety now that that has aired?
I think they should beef up security now that it's aired. The people over in the UK, I'm seeing all the comments. I'm even looking at the UK Twitter through VPN, and they're very angry. They're very angry over there. If they, before they really didn't care for her too much as a general consensus. Now it's on 100, times 100 the hate. So I would beef up security after doing that interview and making the royal family appear to be racist. You didn't mention names, but by mentioning they questioned the skin color of your baby, now all of America thinks, the royal family's racist. And that's bad for business, if you know what I mean, over there.
Well,
absolutely.
You pointed that out too. The fact that they brought up that as a topic of conversation, but did not point out who it was. So they introduced the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
They introduced this idea that somebody within the palace walls might be a racist, but they didn't give the name. No, but Monica's right. Now people reading or watching this, now you associate the whole family as being a part of that conversation because you don't have a name. You know
Right.
what I mean? So like you think, okay, now you think the Queen's races, Prince Charles, Prince William, Kate Middleton, you think all of them have a problem with whatever Harry and Meghan's kids' skin color might look like because we did not get a name. Is that fair?
That's fair. And then a lot of assumptions being made. But like I said before, the queen is the head. She sets the tone. So everything trickles down from there. And she had an opportunity to stop all of it, stop the lies in the press, stop any type of racism or any kind of chatter or talk about Archie's skin color. She could have shut all that down and said, no, he's our family. We're going to love him. We're going to treat Meghan like family. And she didn't do that. So, and then she took away the security and she took away Archie's title because that came from her. That was a direct order from her, the title being taken away. Yeah, because he was going to have, some sort of title. He was in line for it, but then she conferred it and she reversed it, and she didn't have to do that, but she did, and it speaks volumes. So yeah, this is bad for business in terms of the aesthetic and how that royal family now looks to the world, right? Not just America, but the world. So if I was them, I would beef up security. I really would. Mm-hmm.
I agree. Delcinia said, I believe that she was silenced because she was a rebel and outsider like Diana. She was continually treated poorly because of her race. And then I want to pull up this one really quick before we finish off here. Sean, thank you for the super chat. They didn't like her because she's well educated. She was not the typical woman. They found out she had her own mind. They thought she was dumb and takes pretty pictures. They really didn't take her being well-rounded as a threat. And then Marcella said, the truth hurts. The Queen protected Andrew, allegedly, and punishes her grandson and great-grandson. Prayers need for Harry and Meghan.
That's a great point, though.
It is.
Because you can see how protected or how much protection someone can get in the royal family. I mean, Prince Andrew, it's written on the walls,
Right.
Absolutely.
and we have forgotten about it. It's gone away.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like it never happened.
Yeah,
And
the tabloids in the UK barely talk about him, and he's a full-blown predator. I mean,
and he did a full interview.
Yes.
And I think he effed up his own his own information.
Entitlement. Mm-hmm.
Privilege.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So lastly, before we end up closing this out, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. But I want to end off this conversation because there's a lot of controversy coming behind this interview. And one of the topics would be the comparison of Princess Diana and Meghan Markle. People think that Princess Diana didn't go through 1/3 of what Meghan Markle went through because Meghan Markle entered into the monarchy as a woman of color who was not accepted and not given the same rights or opportunities as the rest of the people who have entered the monarchy. At least that's what information we're giving. I wanted to ask you, Monica, because I know how Jason feels, I know how I feel. Do you feel that Princess Diana truly was not given the same flack, like 1/3 of the percent of shit that Meghan Markle had to go through? Or do you think that, no, people are just making this up? Because if you really go back and look in history, Princess Diana went through a lot.
I think Diana had it worse in the press back then. Absolutely. Because the things that she was doing back then, partying, drinking, dating a Muslim man, allegedly pregnant for a Muslim man, the thought of a former princess or, having a brown baby, I think she got it far worse. They really hounded her back then compared to what I've seen of the way they treated Meghan. Meghan didn't have an easy ride. She was, there was a lot of bias and lies told and fake, when they said she was rude and nasty to her staff and all this other stuff. It was a lot of made up things, her tiff with Kate Middleton and all that stuff. That's mild in comparison to the things they said about Diana. So I think Diana had it far worse, in my opinion.
And I think too,
agree with that.
I remember those Diana times because I'm 10 years older than Adam,
Okay.
but also it was a different time too. We were watching the news and we were, picking up a newspaper. Now with everything that we have, I mean, technology, social media, it's always in Meghan's face. Like you can't even escape from a room. I mean, I could feel how Diana is, but at the same time, it's a different time too. So
yeah,
the scrutiny just becomes more and more heavy as
Yes.
when you have
Absolutely.
more instruments to receive it from.
you can't avoid a newspaper the same way Diana did, as opposed to like Meghan Markle, who opens up her phone and it's like breaking news. Meghan Markle did this, this, and this.
She touched her belly. I mean, she didn't give him much to work with. Diana was a full-blown rebel. She did, she was out partying and drinking and rumors of the cocaine use and this and that. Meghan didn't give them that much. The most that she can give them is touching her belly bump, and that made her vain. So it was like mild in comparison. But yeah, they both, had to deal with it. But it wasn't as bad as when Diana was with us.
I agree.
I agree.
Well, Monica, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you. And again, I feel so bad. I feel like you're never going to come back because we have mods in here who are being disrespectful. Monica, please come back.
Listen, your platform is always positive, Adam. You're just amazing. You know how I feel about you. Jay, it was such a pleasure to meet you.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you for the conversation. I really enjoyed that.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And you together look so good. When you said you're 10 years older than Adam, I'm like, where? Your pinky toe.
I want to say real quick, you're treading on thin ice over here real quick. just to be fair, because when people always tell us, they're like, you guys look the same age. I'm like, that better be a fucking
I love when they say who's
him.
older.
that better be a compliment to him.
Very,
Very,
very, very
young. And not that I look 10 years older than what I'm supposed to, because
no, you look young, baby. It's a testament to how well you take care of yourself. Keep it up. Stay positive. I like the duo. You need to do this more often. I really like it.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll keep you around. And honestly, if you're around, and we have anything else that pops up throughout the weeks or whatever, as always, like we both have each other's numbers. I love messaging you and kind of seeing what you're up to. So yeah, we would love to just do this again.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, Adam has such a wonderful sense of humor. You're hilarious. You may not bring the shade here, but let me tell you, my DMs, he keeps me in stitches. Okay. He's so
it's funny because when I made this channel, and this is just like a little backside tidbit. When I made this channel, I researched YouTube and I looked at some of the other content creators and people who do the same things that we do. And I saw so much poison, like people who are so vile. And it's like Erica Girardi's getting a divorce. That's because she is, a bitch and this and this. And I'm like, that is not who I want to be. That's not, I feel like everybody goes through something. And then when you put yourself on a public platform, people are so quick to scrutinize, but I don't want to sit here and scrutinize with the rest of the YouTubers who are doing that. I want to learn to understand. And at first, when I went on your channel too, I was trying to understand. And I think that there were a few vocabulary terms that were said that I wasn't aware of. And I would ask, I know, but I asked though. I asked because I want to learn and I don't sound ignorant. I would rather ask and then instead of sit here and pretend with like maybe like when Monica goes on, she has like 2,000-3,000 people watching. Maybe there's 50 people watching who didn't understand that term, but they don't want to ask too. So I asked about it, And that's what I love about you. But it's sincere. You're authentic. You are who you are, and that's why it works. And that's why your channel. You didn't come on here trying to be like anyone else. You're very professional. You remain true to yourself, and it works for you. And that's why this channel is going to blow. And when I say blow up, I mean 100K, 150K very soon. I see it for you. Hey, when that happens, Monica, can we get together and we can have a big bottle of champagne? We can just put our silver plaques together. We can bump them. It'll be exciting. I'm excited.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'll be celebrating for you. I love you, Adam. And thank you so much for having me on your platform. Jason, you've been a pleasure. Thank you.
Monica, before you go, can you just tell us where we can find you if we're living under a rock?
Sure. Here on YouTube, All About the Tea. Subscribe to the channel.
All right. Monica, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will see you so very soon.
Hugs and kisses to you. Bye.
Right. Bye, Monica. All right, guys. And then I want to bring up this last super chat really quick, the last two, rightfully so. Marcella, again, thank you, Marcella, for all of the support, especially through this video. And always, we appreciate you. I believe Diana was punished by the royals and Philip cheated with Camilla. I believe they hated her. She was loved for her children and the world. Yeah, I agree with that. And then Jamie, just thank you so much for the super sticker and the support. Isn't Monica the best?
Yeah, she's cool.
That was your first time?
Well, when I was watching you on her channel, and then you remember you had to get off like an hour early
Yeah.
from her channel to go do the other whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I stayed watching it the whole time, and I'm just like, it's a fun, it's like 3 hours, some of those lives.
No, Monica
and it's just
goes.
such an easy watch because there's so many great opinions.
She has like the endurance to go through a live that is 2, 3, 4 hours.
Oh my gosh, I sit on here like twice with you a week and I'm done.
Yeah, Jason's like dead. All right, guys. Well, again, if you haven't already hit that like button, show some love. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed to Jason's channel, Down with Jason, it's in my community tab. Go subscribe to Jason's channel. I would love to tell you exactly what's coming your way, but he won't even tell me. So it's going to be highly edited videos, unlike my pumped out content of these lives that, well, at least that's what he's telling me. Guys, we'll see you so very soon. I know that you're trying to get a word in, but not on my channel. Now you have your own. See you later. Bye guys.